Good morning to the leader in you. Listen, we have a phenomenal episode this morning. We have a gentleman by the name of Nathaniel Patterson. The reason why we have him on the show today, I believe he has a wealth of knowledge, but also his connection to the community is by far, it stands out in everything that he does from his leadership capacity in building in the community that he serves. Just a little bit about Nathaniel. He is an author. He is a coach. I tell you, he's a public speaker and is a trainer. There's a quote that he talks about empowering excellence and inspiring us, right? So today we're going to be having a conversation about what does that mean to empower to excellence? What does excellence mean, right? And how do we inspire others? Nathaniel, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be with the opportunity to speak with your audience and not only share some of my knowledge, but really I'm impressed by the show and the title itself. So let's see what we can do here.
Absolutely. Listen, well, first, take us on a journey. Let us know a little bit of who Nathaniel is. I know you're an author, you're a coach, but before you even ventured off into these platforms, what was that spark of light in you that even made you want to write a book and wanted to go out and become a coach?
Well, I'm not a person who really like titles. LinkedIn kind of forced me into certain things, categories. But basically, I grew up in Mobile, Alabama, left here, went to Southern California, and that's really was my upbringing in Southern California for entrepreneurship. Left Southern California, was in Brazil for a year, was in Kenya for a while, came back through Tampa Bay and returned home to take care of my mom who passed away. But my Phoenix came because I wanted to be that old quote about be the person that you wanted. And that's what I needed to do because coming up, I looked for a mentor and I never could find a mentor. I talked to several people and for whatever reason, I didn't have that. So I taught myself by reading books and observing people. So my goal was to try to make a life a little bit easier for this next generation by saying, look, this is what I went through. This is what I did. And I put a post on Facebook the other day and I said, I woke up one morning and I was drenched by water. And I was drenched by water because I was homeless and sleeping in the park. And I asked God, why did you bring me here? And I realized it was not God, it was me and my bad decision. So I'm here to share some knowledge, and if I can help somebody, that's what I'm looking to do.
Yeah, and thank you for your transparency. And I always say that because there's someone watching the show now, we're going to watch the show later, that may find themselves in an uncomfortable position, that may find themselves in a situation like, how did I get here? Now, when you was in that situation and, I know it was uncomfortable. You was like, how did I get here? How did you start the process to build yourself back up?
Well, the primary question is, what am I going to do? Am I going to make excuses, which I know is this comfort zone you stay in, which is going to either keep me here or make it worse? Or am I going to walk worthy and be that man that my mother raised, that God brought me here to be? And I knew the hardest part was really elevating yourself. So I'm kind of this junkie, a little adrenaline, and I challenged myself a lot. So, okay, I went back to my sports days, my football days. Okay, we're going to do this. So we're going to do it in steps. So I started challenging myself every step of the way. And that's when I came up with excellence. At the time, I really didn't know this trendy term, but excellence to me is that the best that I can be, the best you can be. I don't deal with perfection because that's too much time dealing with so many details and so many other opinions of what perfection should be. So I just challenged myself little by little, and I saw myself stepping. And I went from that park, sleeping in that park, trying to get out of that park at 5:30 in the morning before the sprinklers came on, to serving on 30 boards now, and to have five small businesses, and was vice president and director of marketing for HMOs and software companies.
Wow. Yeah. So anybody watching now or watching later, or if you need to send this video to someone that feel that they are in a hard place and feel that they cannot bounce back up. This is why we have Nathaniel on this show, being transparent, being real. He was in a hard place. He was homeless, but you just heard him say he didn't stay there. He was able to bounce back up. What was your first step to bouncing back up?
Was admitting that it was me.
Was your book your first step, or did you
Oh no,
were you hire someone? Did you launch your business? What did you do?
first I'd admit that it was me. It was my fault. So based
Mm-hmm.
on that, if it was my fault, then I got myself in this so I can get myself out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The next part was I need to start rebuilding the relationships that I tarnished. Because in life, we know relationships are just about everything. I had this saying that said life and business is really not about brilliance. It's really about relationships, resilience, and resources. So based on those 3 R's, I can give the resilience, but I'm going to need the relationships in order to get the resources. So I needed to repair some relationships, and some of them I knew weren't going to come right away, but I need to make that step. So that's where I started.
Absolutely. So what inspired you to write your first book, and tell everybody the name of your first book and a little synopsis about it?
Well, I started out writing ebooks, and people were telling me, responding on LinkedIn and on Facebook and Twitter. And each one of them I use different. On Twitter, I talk about small business. On LinkedIn, it's more about career development. Facebook is motivational and about my life. So I started, I did some ebooks, and I put the best quotes I had, best posts I had on that. And then I got a lot of good reaction from that. And I was, you kind of downplay yourself saying, I'm just an average guy going through something. But I realized I really had something special here. So it was resonating. So I started to write this book called What If I Fail? And be honest with you, I finished the book, but I didn't like the way it was. So I'm probably 2 months away from really finishing and publishing it. So What If I Fail deals with the issue that most of the times in our life, we are responsible for our failures because the doubt, the fear, the insecurities. A lot of our insecurities are unresolved childhood insecurities that we don't deal with as adults, and they wind up hurting us in business and personal life. So What If I Fail deals with all that. That question, what if I fail? Well, what if you succeed? So I put a little positive spin on it, but I also talk about us dealing with our insecurities first. Because our businesses, our lives, our organizations can't grow until we really get ourselves straight first.
Yeah, that's so key and so important. And even as I look over the different platforms that you serve with, your board of directors with the Dearborn YMCA, your mobile area chamber of commerce, sit on the board, University of South Alabama, you sit on the council there. How did you integrate yourself to become a part of all these different entities?
Well, let me tell you, I got this little. Well, here it is. This is it here. I joined Phi Beta Sigma back in '76. I'm dating myself now. All right. So back in '76, and the brothers there really they taught me something. Coming from Mobile, little country boy coming there, the way you control things and get input and get output is to be inside. So you have to be inside. So they taught me how to get on these little boards. We started with the NAACP, Urban League. So I started small working with them and wound up being on national, regional boards with that. Joined the industry association, being the youngest person. They put me on there to represent the youth at the time. So just little by little over the years, and step by step. But I always, since I was 20 years old, have been a member of a chamber of commerce. Coming back home, I found that I really wanted to be the largest chamber here. One of the only few 5-star chambers in the nation is right here in Mobile. So I wanted to serve, and I not only want to be on that board, I wanted to be in the leadership on that board. So I made it to the executive committee. So I just took it step by step, working with a lot of nonprofits, learning from people. I watched a lot of people. I took notes day in and day out, and I volunteered. I volunteered so much of my time, people really thought I was crazy, but it turned out to create so much value for me because I learned a lot. And I turn that learning now into my workshops, seminars, and books.
It's so powerful what you just shared. Integrating yourself in different platforms. You mentioned about the Urban League. You mentioned about being a part of the chamber. And I think a lot of times when we're trying to build our business, you can't build it like an island unto yourself. You have to get outside the box, and you have to integrate, and you have to meet people. And we all have heard that saying, iron sharpens iron. And I think you just really summed that up with your journey. And then you said, people thought you was crazy because of the volunteering that you were doing. But what that volunteering did for you, it built relationships. And from those relationships, it helped grow your business. Talk about the significance of building a relationship and how that impacts your business growth.
Man, the relationships that I got into. And I think about the end result, really. You know, our parents, my parents always taught me how to look at the end and then look at the incremental steps you need to make. I know that for all of us, we need contacts and contracts. But we also know that people do business with people they know or recommended by people they know. So my thing was, how can I gain maximum exposure? Well, I tried that. I did that because I had a marketing firm in Los Angeles for 24 years. So I understand marketing very well. But that didn't work as well as me getting inside the boardrooms because I'm sitting next to decision makers and I didn't approach them at first. What I did, I let them become impressed with my work, what I produce, my brand. Once they saw my brand, they came to me. I didn't go to them. So now it's like, how can we help you? So now, aha. And from that, I was able to not only get contracts for myself, but I was able to reach out to the community and say, look, this is the person you need to call, or, hey, Joe, I recommend this person. So I was able to be that bridge where before they were saying you crazy. Now they called me and said, how did you do that? Yeah.
Wow. What I just took, I always call them golden nuggets. What I just took from what you said, building relationships, it builds bridges. And by building those bridges, it actually opens up the doors for you for those contracts that you're seeking for your business to grow.
I'm going to hire you as a moderator for me from now on. Yeah.
And I also heard you say you didn't immediately go at the decision makers. You was in the room, but they became attracted to your brand. So you had something at the table that was valuable. And the decision makers, when they saw that, they approached you. It's a reason why I'm reiterating this for those that's tuning in now or going to be tuning in later. A lot of times we have to promote on social media, but sometimes we're always in a salesman trying to sell all the time. It kind of washes away the value of what your product or service is, right? Opposed to making sure you're in a room of decision makers and then they actually rest in what your value is, because you built relationship. You was having conversations with them, right? I'm quite sure of that. And through those dialogues that you had, a light bulb went off in the decision maker and like, you know what? We need Nathaniel. Talk about that.
What I'm doing when I walk into a room, I'm accepting the need. I know who I am. I know what value I have. And within that, I'm not going to put myself in one category that I'm just an author, just a coach. I'm just whatever. I look at the need and I can become the answer to that need. If I don't have the answer, I know what the solutions are. I go get somebody in my network. So I'm always assessing when we grow in our business, the most important thing is not us. It's our audience. What does our audience need? What do they want? So based on that, if I become the answer to what they want or need, or I can fulfill their pain, minimize their pain, then they come to me. So that's my thing, is whether it's a business or organization, and Nate Patterson as an individual, I'm looking for what is the need. Where's the pain at?
What is the need? Where's the pain at? Bringing value to a situation that really it's some disconnect, because if there's no solution in a situation, there's some disconnect going on. Something is disjointed, right?
Right.
I heard you say when you're in that room, you're really evaluating what the disconnect is, right? Because once you've determined what the disconnect is, I'm quite sure when you open your mouth and you start speaking, you're providing value to the disconnect in the room.
I'm one of the last persons in the room to speak.
Because you're taking it in.
I'm taking it all in. I don't jockey for position. I prefer, because, you know, that old, I forgot what the quote, but basically, if you're one of the last one to speak and you speak the less, they consider you wise. Well, I wasn't that wise. I just took in consideration what they weren't saying and what they weren't doing. I observed enough to pick up on that. So that's where I'm going from.
Yeah, you found the gap. And for those that's tuning in now, tuning in later, you're building your business and you may feel that your business isn't taking off. You may feel that it's stagnant. So the thing that I want to put out there to the viewers is, have you identified the gap in your marketplace? Have you identified what's disconnected in the industry that you're in? And then have you found what value you bring to the table and inserted it into the gap?
And then throw the icing on the cake is, once you find that, what kind of experiences are you going to build that will really distinguish you from everybody else? Normally, when I talk to businesses, they all say, well, I give great customer service. That's boring. Because really, customer service, you're waiting for the customer to come to you, and then you correcting a problem. What I believe, that customer success, that customer experience, you're pre-designing something, and you're following them and touching with every point of the way, because normally you're going to have about 10 touch points before you even know you got a customer. And you need to be aware of that. So going back to it, I know who my niche audience is. I know their lifestyle. And that's what I believe in. I believe in lifestyle marketing. That's my default marketing strategy. You're going to always add 2 or 3 marketing strategies with that, but I understand their causes, their interests, their lifestyle, their pain points. If I understand that, then I'm the one. Only thing I need to do is design something, whether it's a product or a service, that's going to help them with that.
Wow. And so what are some tips and tools you can share for those budding leaders? They may be in the beginning phases. They may run a nonprofit organization, or they may run a for-profit business. Maybe they're a couple of years in. What words of wisdom could you share in terms of leadership and growing in who they are?
Well, I have a saying that leadership goes beyond a title. It's really not a crown. It is the art of responsibility, and it has to be a lifestyle. So don't let this ego interfere. When you get these titles, don't let these egos interfere with you, because it's really people to people. And with me, before the trend came with empathetic and emotional intelligence, I just understood that don't treat people the way you want to be treated, but you need to treat them the way they want to be treated. So if you invest that into people, you're going to get people who are going to look to you. So now you have influence. From that influence, you need to build that vision and sell that vision to them. If they can believe in that vision, then now you're a leader. No matter what title you have. Look, I unloaded trucks for 17 years at night. During the day, I had a full-time job. Here I am, director of marketing, vice president, all these positions. I'm unloading trucks. These guys didn't know that. But I walked in there. I accessed with, again, I saw a need. I knew that there was a disconnect between management and them. I'm the one that spoke up, but I wouldn't spoke intelligently. I ain't threatened. So all of a sudden, management likes the way I'm talking. My guys like the way that I'm representing them. So guess who's the leader now? I don't even have a title. I was the frontline worker. They offered me all kind of positions with that company, but I turned them down because I had day jobs. But you don't have to have a title to be a leader. You just need to be observant and listen. And don't try to be pushed your way. Find out what they need. Again, it comes back to, what does your audience need?
Yeah, but I have so much respect for you, Miss Nathaniel, and just hearing your journey and your story, even what you just shared. You had on these different marketing departments, and you're director of all these various roles, but then at nighttime you were still with another job. And I'm pointing this out because sometimes when we're building a business, we're wearing multiple hats to get things solidified to where it needs to be, right? And sometimes people won't do what they need to do because they say, well, I'm bigger than this. This is who I am. I have a certain image, or I have a certain status, or whatever that might be. But when you peel down the layers, you said it beautifully. Leadership is not about a title. You do what you have to do to build. That's what builders do. That's what leaders do. You do what you have to do. It's not about form or fashion. It's not about having this pretty image. It is about building the foundation. And that's what I'm hearing from you. From the minute we started this episode up until present, all that I'm hearing from you is build the foundation and build it strong.
Strong. Even in bringing people aboard, when I work with companies, one of the first things I ask them to do, I don't care about the title you give me. No, number 2, I need to be in full control of my people. I want to recruit them. I want to be the one to interview them and hire them. So they were more concerned with who has bachelor's, master's, all this kind of stuff. I didn't care about that. I was looking for character and drive, people who were hungry, who wanted to learn. That's what I look for. And I developed that reputation for building high-performing teams because I didn't pay attention to all the credentials and stuff. You know how many people are underemployed and out of work because all these barriers are put before them. Well, I've never had a problem with my team. I had people from other units trying to get into my area because they knew we were going to build something. I wanted that synergy. Synergy is very important to me. You don't need to be like me. Matter of fact, I want you to be better than me, because the better ideas, the better innovation we bring, you're going to go, I'm going to grow, and we're both going to get paid. Our family's going to grow.
Absolutely. And so for those of you that's out there that's watching this right now, and you might be second guessing yourself, well, I don't got that master's, I don't got that MBA, I don't have this, I don't have that. And you may be second guessing yourself, or there may be individuals second guessing you because you don't have that particular piece of paper. I know many individuals don't have that piece of paper, but they are intelligent and they know how to run a business, because I'm a firm believer of that hands-on. And I'm not knocking college, I went to college as well. I'm not knocking the paper, but at the end of the day, you got to have some hands-on experience. You got to put your hands to the plow. My father was from Mississippi, so, you said Alabama, so you got to put your hands to the plow. Hattiesburg.
Okay.
Yeah. And you got to put your hands to the plow, and you got to dig in, and so it's no different in business. You got to put your hands to the plow and dig in, and talk about digging into your business and building it when you may have scarce resources.
Well, there's a saying, and a lot of our entrepreneur programs talk about it now, that you have to spend more time working on your business than in your business. And that is a very true component, is that in order to grow, we have all these tasks, and we can get wrapped up in all these tasks. But the reality of it, we need to be looking at the big picture. And the big picture is, what do I need to do to attract these clients? How do I get them, acquire them? Then how do I keep them? And then knowing that, first of all, no matter what industry you're in, what organization you're with, we're in the people business first. So you got to invest in these people around you. You have vendors, you have media, you have employees, you have all these people, and you need to invest in them. And at first you don't have the money, so you invest the time in. Then from that time, you are able to come up with little perks for them down the road. But you build organizations by knowing that you first things first, you're in the people business. Again, the foundation. Right. You train them, you coach them. Then you let them go. Let them make some mistakes. The only thing I require of my people, we're going to fail sometime. But this is it. If it's recurring failure, we're not learning. And that's the error there. It's not failure, it's recurring failure.
Recurring failure. So I want to touch on that you just said, recurring failure, but I want to take a step back for a second, talking about client retention. What do you feel some of the top 2 to 3 things are to maintain client retention?
Man, personalized communication. I believe in segmentation. It's very important that we invest in data analysis and critical analysis of what we have. There's so much data that we have, even for a small business. So again, when we go back to lifestyle marketing, if we just set people up according to the interest causes they're into, websites, how they receive their communication, however way you want to establish that segmentation, and then personalized communication with them. Some people you want to get behind the scenes work with. Some of them you're going to talk about their pain. Some of them you're going to talk about, hey, I need your assistance. Really start telling them, I want to make this company better. I need your assistance. Tell me what you're going through and what you need, and how are you going to use it. Tell me how you're using the product I got out there now, because a lot of times I've been with companies before and we sold products and we thought how people were using them. But when we talked to our users, they were using our product a whole different way than we thought of. So we have to talk to them and figure it out. And that's how we're going to really retain these customers, is to invest time into them and segment them through personalized communication.
Personalized communication. And I think that's so key, because a lot of times, individuals are always trying to find new customers, new clients. But what about client retention? We're always after the chase for the next. But sometimes we don't really look at what we already have in retaining that. I think there's a lot to be said about client retention, client relationship, communication. And a lot of times client retention is at an all-time low because that communication that you just spoke of is virtually non-existent. And people feel that they were just another number in the queue, and they feel that you're moving on to the next. That energy is there. So I think that's key. So let's double back to something that you said a few minutes ago, recurring failure. What is recurring failure? Because people talk about, you have to fail or move forward, fail forward. There's all these quotes, out there. But you just said something about recurring failure. What is that?
Well, you know what? I make things simple for me. And let's say, for instance, I had 2 or 3 girlfriends, and they were the same type of people. They might have been, let's say, people who really were dependent. Well, it wasn't their fault because they told me who they were, but it was me who was picking the same type of person over and over that didn't match what I was looking for. So I look at the same thing in business, is that when you are doing projects, are you making the same mistakes over and over again? It may not be the exact same, but they fall in the same category. You may be making bad decisions because you fear taking on big projects, or you don't want to delegate, or you fear the unknown, so you make the same mistake. So you have to come back and figure out not only what failed, but where did you really fail in there. And a lot of times it is in the relationships that we fail, the emotions and relationships where we fail. That the strategy and product and services may be good, but the emotions and relationships, there's a lot of failure there.
I tell you, for those that are tuning in now, or if you have a business colleague that you desperately know you need to send them this link, send them this link, send them this video. Now, how can individuals get connected to you, Nathaniel? They may need, they may want to buy your book. They may want to get some of your coaching services. What's the best way to contact you?
I'll tell you what, I did one thing that I don't tell people to do. Like I said, I had a marketing company for 24 years. After then, I left Los Angeles, and I didn't open up a website. I use my platforms. LinkedIn accounts for 40% of my revenue right now. So I normally use LinkedIn. I am getting ready to start some online classes and put my books online. That will be available in August. But get a hold of me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter. You know, Nathaniel Patterson, you'll see me on there, and inbox me through that. I thought I was getting ready to retire, but I found that's not in me. So I'm going to go do right this time, get ready to get a website. I'm working on that, and I'm going to do things legitimately so I can have some passive income that I don't have to work all the time.
Absolutely. Well, that's how we connected through LinkedIn, you know? Yeah. So LinkedIn, I concur. LinkedIn is a really great tool to connect with other like-minded business professionals and build the foundation, right? Because the foundation and everything that you said today is about relationship building, right? Finding that wedge, finding that gap, finding that disconnect, and you providing value, therein lies open doors for you, right? Because if you don't bring value, the doors are going to stay shut.
You got to bring some value. But every one of us has value.
Every one of us
have it. If we just got to take that little insecurity off of us, them blankets of insecurity, and allow it to grow, because we do have value. You know, we're not average in everything. There are some things that we're better than others at, but we need to let it grow. We need to let it grow.
Let your value grow.
Yeah.
Man, we're going to have to come back for a part 2, because we've winded down this morning segment, but I love what you just talked about, letting your value grow. Just touch on that just a little bit. What does that mean, let your value grow?
You know, we have so many insecurities in life. And we tend to say, well, we're not special. Everybody knows this. Well, I used to keep an idea journal, and I found out all these ideas I had, I wasn't presenting them. And I'm looking over here like they were better than some of these other people, and they were making money off of them or getting promoted. So I decided I need to find a way to present myself. So this is it. If you learn how to communicate effectively and make presentations, you're going to grow faster than people who don't, because people can understand the presentation, understand your communication. They can see where your value lies at. Communication is huge. If you can just communicate effectively, that's one place where you can go. You can build you can build your brand quickly
and grow your value. So I think that's a perfect segue as we wind down. Good morning to the leader in you. For those that's tuning in now, you may be watching a replay. Focus on building your value. As Mr. Nathaniel said, we all have value. Sometimes we're sitting on our value, though, because we second guess ourselves. We allow others to put us down because maybe he talked about it earlier. Maybe those certain degrees aren't there. Do not put yourself down. This is the season to expand your value. For anyone that want to connect with me, I also am on LinkedIn, Catherine Trotter. And my website is my first and last name, CatherineTrotter.com. Instagram is CTR Strategy Solutions, as well on Facebook. Listen, this has been an honor. It has been a privilege, Nathaniel, to share a little bit of time with you today, you know, learning about your journey. But you did not allow setbacks to keep you back, right?
Right.
You push forward. And any final words of inspiration that you would like to share before we close out?
Well, I just want to make sure that you live a life where you're empowering and not enabling. And when you learn the difference in that, and then the other part is that learn the difference between this, that there's a big difference between calculated risk and risky behavior. If you know those two things, you're going to grow and you're going to build exponentially.
And if you need more coaching on those things, go look up Mr. Nathaniel Patterson on LinkedIn.
Hey, I got a toll-free number, and I just got a new toll-free number.
Oh, plug it. Okay.
877-351-4698. Give me a call. That's brand new as of yesterday, so I'm going to plug it in.
Yes, okay? Absolutely. Again, thank you for your time. Yes. We're definitely going to have you back on the show. For all of you that are tuning in, tune back in next Tuesday for a brand new edition of Good Morning to the Leader in You.